I'm here with Yutapon. I was talking to Seros earlier, and he was saying that you had something special up your sleeves for this game. You certainly did. The funnel worked. Congratulations on the win. How does it feel despite knowing that it doesn't get you through to the finals?
先ほどの、セロスさんのインタビューでいろいろ面白いピックを見せてあげるよっていうところで実際に今回ファンネリングをやって成功したわけなんですけれども残念ながらちょっと試合としてこれでファイナルに出場することはできないんですけれども今のお気持ちはいかがでしょうか。
そうですね、やりたいことやって最後結局勝ってたんでそれは僕たちとしては良かったかなって思います。ただ、日本が決勝トーナメント出れなかったのはちょっと残念だなって思いました。
Although we couldn't advance to the final stage, we did what we wanted and it worked, so it feels really good.
Fantastic. I mean, you're normally the ADC. In this kind of game, though, your job is to just follow Steel around and give him all your resources. How does that make you feel as normally the ADC?
通常ユタポンさんは割とADC としてダメージを出したりとかする役割だと思うんですけれども今回布を使ってスティール選手について回るっていうのをやってみて実際どうでしたか。
僕はああいった結局サポート系のキャラも結構好きで特に布ってすごい好きでずっとジャングラーで使えるときはずっと使ってたんで使えてよかったかなって思いました。
I like playing variety of champions and especially support I like Nunu the best and when I was playing jungle I played Nunu the most so it was not too bad.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, thank you very much. Congratulations. Is there anything you want to say to the fans back at home?
改めておめでとうございました。何か選手に見ていただいている皆さんに一言お願いします。
最後残ることはできなかったんですけれども、ここまで応援してくれて皆さんありがとうございました。
Despite that we couldn't advance to the final stage, thank you for watching and yeah, that's it.
Well, we look forward to seeing you guys back here next year for another Rivals, and I'll see you guys after these highlights.
Being channeled down and Lloyd just gets popped! A snowball but to the back of the head and it's 2 kills for DFM. Nobody's done the fight yet but Rich is so low still, it's gonna fall down! That's the funnel dead! That's the dunk on the Ceres as he bleeds out and falls!
He's still going though.
He is going but Lloyd is also going, everybody's trying to find everything as G4 will fall down. In comes the damage, can they make it work as the absolute zeal is channeling down? That's gonna be one on the steal, he wants a little bit more, he wants to get that damage as G4's there, that's gonna be 2. Rich dives straight onto the backline, but Rocky can't quite find his entrance. Has got the apprehend, but he's just getting liquefied. A stun from Eddie. Lands onto 3, and he's managed to find himself 1. It's a double kill onto Steel. He's going for the quadra. He's managed to find himself a triple onto Steel. They're turning it on his head. Ascension! What was that? Lloyd puts the damage down, gets a double kill on the Lucian, and Vivid is getting melted. It was a bit of a struggle towards the end, but at 28 minutes, DFM managed to take down the Nexus, ended the game, there we go!
Japan are out but not down, and Dead FM stopped the ascension of Ascension with a well-timed funnel into the hearts and minds of all of us, including the VIPs here. You guys enjoyed that game, right? Woo! And that's taste what you can get tomorrow if you turn up to the live event. That times like 400. Rusty, it's good for Japan to go out on the win, sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. For Detonation Focus Me, they should be super proud that they've been able to get 2 victories on the day and that they are able to go out with that win. They looked very good on this day. And the sad thing is, a little bit too late, a little bit too little too late, but you still have to take those victories. And for the LJL, for Japan, it's still good to know that your teams have what it takes. It just didn't happen early enough.
Where do you think it went wrong for Ascension? Was it just a bit of sloppiness or...
For the side of Ascension, it kind of just went wrong at level 1, where I feel like their jungler had some very unfortunate pathing. And for the team overall, when they played around their opponent composition, maybe it was a lack of practice against it, but that's the weird thing for Ascension, right? The rest of their region does play it. Mineski played it on the first day, and there was a chance that they would know what to do. But for me, it just looked like Detonation Focus Me were too good at it, too practiced at it, and they weren't really able to play against it.
And Ascension are the top seed for their region. Going into tomorrow, what does a game like this do to their confidence?
I mean, going into tomorrow being 0-2 in the day just prior to that is never going to be good for confidence. And for the Oceanic side, it will do wonders for them having watched that. You get sample size, you get to see what it takes to beat them. And so you get to practice those strategies and be able to execute with that on the day. Of course, no one knows who they'll be playing against as it's a blind relay, but you've seen the recipe, you've seen the key for success.
Absolutely. Well, moving on to the next game, we've got Direwolves versus Pentagram. This will be Japan's last game in the tournament.
Yeah, a chance for Japan to go out with a bang once again. Not just Detonation Focus Me that could leave with a victory, but of course for Pentagram also. Now on the side of the Direwolves, I will say that they get a chance to go undefeated through the entire tournament. That's a pretty big incentive to try hard in this game as well.
When I run into the Direwolves guys next week at the OPL, I will of course say that I was rooting for them, but there's a big part of me that wants Japan to take this last game just to be able to go out on a positive note.
Oh, absolutely. There is a big part of everyone, I think, that wants to support the Japanese sides. You've heard in all of the interviews as well that everyone that is a team competing here from all the other regions, they love the LJL. They're all so kind, they're all so sincere, and they're all such lovely people that it's bittersweet to beat them, but you have to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Direwolves, just pretend the last 30 seconds of conversation didn't happen, and let's go right over to the caster's desk.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Hello, everybody. My name is Jake Hiprain Matthews. Joining me here on the caster desk is Jake Spawn, Berry, and Bryce E. Jim Poole. Gentlemen, Direwolves still undefeated in this tournament. How are we feeling about this?
Yeah, we're feeling good. I mean, as a Direwolves fan in this tournament, you have to look at them and say they've played some pretty spectacular League of Legends so far. The aggression's been there, the team play seems to be on point, and all the hints of weaknesses have gone. BioPanther now stepping up.
Yeah, they've just been playing very well across the board. We've seen good performances from BioPanther, from Schönfire. The bottom lane King had that absolutely monster Swain game, and Triple Zoe has been popping off, so it's just across the board from the Wolfpack.
Well, been putting a pretty good showing up so far, but obviously Pentagram can't quite say the same for them.
Yeah, I mean, Pentagram's been up and down. This is a team that has some spectacular highs, but we'll see whether they can get back there in this final game.
Let's have a little look at Pentagram. In the top lane, it's going to be Paz. Once is the jungler, Ramune in the mid lane, Yutori Moriyashi bot lane with Gang as his support.
Yeah, and this is a team that I feel like we've been talking about their struggle with the meta. So many times we've been saying, look, it is an early game focus. You have bruisers, you have mages all across the board, and they've been going back to these GP, these scaling compositions, and their game plan has been to like outlast the aggression from specifically the OPL or the OS teams, and if they can do it, they win. If they can't, they fall down early.
Yeah, it certainly seems to be the case, and I think the other big thing is that there's not really many mechanical outplay champions for Yutori Moriyashi to play right now. Maybe the Lucian. Everything else is like Morgana and Swain, and that just is not in this guy's wheelhouse.
I mean, he did show up on the Lucian when he got his hands on it, went 1 versus 3, but let's have a little look at the Direwolves and see their starting lineup going into this game. Obviously representing the OPL, BioPanther will be in the top lane, Schönfire is the jungle, Triple in the mid, King and Cupcake as the bot lane duo.
And there's not really many negative things to say about the Direwolves this tournament so far. King had one game where he kind of had a bit of an int against Nocturne. Yep. Apart from that, everything else looks very, very good. Schön looks in control of the meta, and if he is on fire, the Direwolves are pretty close behind.
And I feel like this is an interesting matchup though, because Chief's super high aggression legacy, there's a bit of variance there, but Direwolves are the sort of OPL team that can take it in the late game, right? They do have that macro boundary. They can play that sort of style, so it's interesting to see if Pentagram first of all switch up their style, and if they don't, I feel like Direwolves match up even better.
And not only that, they punish mistakes harder than either of the other Oceanic teams. If you give them anything, you know, one pick, they will turn it into the maximum gold lead majority of the time. So really, Pentagram are going to have to be on point and very focused throughout this game, and disciplined, which we haven't seen all that much this tournament.
I want to have a little talk about BioPanther as well here. He's sitting on the highest KDA of this entire tournament, 16.5. Ooh. Second behind him is Cupcake, and he is sitting on a KDA of 14 with a 70% kill participation rate. So actually, Direwolves definitely really putting in the numbers to back up their wins.
And that's super unexpected, right? Like coming into the tournament, everyone's saying like top laners are quite good. BioPanther, can he stack up to the international competition? This is a player that came from the Challenger series in the Oceanic region, now has a couple of weeks on the Direwolves and first interregional tournament playing well.
Yeah, I don't know if it is unexpected. They've put him like mainly on tanks and like very tanky bruisers, and they've won every game in about 26 minutes. True. No one has really gone at him yet. There's not been a hard camp put on BioPanther, so I think he's cruised his way through it a little bit. The second stat, however, does surprise me. You know, 70% kill participation whilst maintaining a 14 KDA is actually pretty massive. That means that not only are you a focal point for the team, you're playing it that well that you're not falling down in these team fights. So looking to see whether that continues.
And it's about the team fights. I think he has had so many highlight real moments, you know, like walking down the river, he gets like a 3-man pulverize on the back end of a team fight, and he's made some highlight reel plays. So to back up the numbers, like he hasn't been suiciding for those. They've just been working so well for the Direwolves.
I think the whole team's making highlight
that's
reel
what I
plays,
said.
to be fair. I mean, BioPanther got the first competitive win on Aatrox in all of the world as well, so he's got that under his belt along with the highest KDA in the tournament. He's pretty happy. If you're Direwolves, especially if you're BioPanther, I think you're walking away no matter what happens tomorrow, pretty happy with yourself.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing here is that Direwolves took a big gamble. You have to remember that Split 1, when they did go undefeated and finish first, they removed the MVP from their lineup in Chippies. He's now playing for Mammoth in the OPL, and they picked up, their OCS top laner who had a couple of weeks of competitive experience and inserted him into what was the best lineup in the OPL. If there was a question mark about how they were going to perform, it was the young man in the top lane, and I think that the experiment so far has proven to be a success.
And they've been saying it all along as well. Like in interviews, behind the scenes, everyone's been questioning BioPanther's performance, and the team, the Direwolves, have always been saying, we trust this guy. And even yesterday in the interview with Nick Boy King was saying, look, like he's proven it. On the international stage against teams that he doesn't have to play domestically, he stood toe-to-toe.
I'm glad you mentioned King as well there, because King got a quadra kill on Swain yesterday. He's also been putting the work in for the team. It feels like with Direwolves, you kind of talk about, BioPanther and all the players like as kind of the standout ones, but I think it's been a group effort. Everyone on this team has shown up in this tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like King had something to prove coming to this. MSI performance wasn't something that he was very happy with, came back pretty disappointed. He's a player that kind of goes back into interviews saying, like, I want to be able to play everything, and this is the sort of meta that allows you to showcase that sort of champion pool.
Yeah, absolutely. He said that he just wants to have the confidence that if they give him counter pick, that he can take advantage of it, and if they pick priority for him, he can still play that as well. We are investigating a peripheral issue, guys, up on stage now. I think that we do have to spend a little bit more time on Pentagram. This is a lineup that, coming off the back end of last year's Rift Rivals, were able to take down Gigabyte Marines a couple of times. I think that especially their bottom side of the map would be really disappointed in how they've played. And I think that, Ramune will want to go at Triple, who's the best performing mid laner at this tournament, in my opinion, by a mile. And their bottom lane will also want to go into King and Cupcake and try and take them down.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, I think, expecting in going into this game, like, it could be a very volatile bottom lane gang. In that bottom lane, big carry player, they like to play those aggressive pieces. They like the Lucian, pair it with the Rakan, with a Thresh, things like that. Cupcake from the OPL has always shown that he's happy to stand up toe-to-toe on things like the Alistar to play that negation. So if they can get sort of a lead down there and snowball out a game, it could be a good game plan.
Right, picks and bans will be coming up fairly shortly once we get settled up here. What are we expecting to see? We've had a little bit of fruit today, as we are going to load through.
I mean, it's so hard to say, right? Does it continue on tournament meta? Do you get the things like Karma, Morgana, or do they just throw a complete spanner in the work? Do we get something else out of Shen, like a Hecarim? Do they go aggressive in the bottom lane, play something like the Fiddlesticks that we've only seen once so far this tournament? This meta is absolutely wide open still.
Yeah, and I would like to see Pentagram go for the more early game focus. I don't want to see them go for the scaling. I feel like they've shown that time and time again, hasn't worked out to great success. We saw KLH turn it around earlier on in the season, earlier on in the tournament. They had rocky early games and then suddenly all in with the Desire Rakan, Xin Zhao composition. I want to see Pentagram sort of make that mid-tournament adjustment as well.
And I want to see Ramune take a skill matchup in the mid lane. I want them to leave things like the Zoe LeBlanc up. I want to see the Aurelia Yasuo. I just want to see him go at Triple and prove that he is a superstar mid laner.
But if they do leave the Zoe up, Triple is absolutely the king of getting solo kills, picking up a cheeky little exhaust from a minion wave, and then hitting people with the outplay button,
Well, let's see what has actually been removed from the game. Not going to be able to play. Morgana, Nocturne, Gangplank, Swain, Talia, and Pentagram looking to find their third and final ban of ban phase 1.
Yeah, and what a luxury, being able to ban Gangplank on the blue side. A champion that's seen little to no success all tournament long, but the Direwolves just so confident in their pick ban that they will get rid of some of the late game insurance.
And I'm interested to see if they do lock away the Lucian. I know it's actually going to be the Rakan, so no 80 carries hit across the board by either team.
Well, not Aatrox still available. I know you probably won't be first picking it, but both Paz and BioPanther have flexed their muscles on that. BioPanther arguably had a little bit more success getting that big old W.
I mean, he did win the game. Paz had a very good early game, but I was talking about the Lucian, and Dial was just going to lock that one in straight away for King.
Does make a lot of sense. I mean, Lucian at the moment just seems to come online quicker than a lot of the standard 80 carries in the meta. Doesn't struggle as much with some of the majors. However, I think Swain is still a good matchup, has been removed. So I think that with how the bans played out, Lucian probably was the right first pick.
Because there are a lot of different options. We have seen a bunch of AD carries. There's some things we have not seen, like the Ashe, that have emerged overseas. We've seen some Xayah, we've seen some Kai'Sa, mostly in the funnel compositions, but there's options there for Pentagram.
Well, we don't know for certain whether or not it will or will not be a funnel comp coming through from Pentagram. Ooh. Zoe, going to get picked up by Dire Wolves.
I'm 90% certain it's not going to be a funnel comp because no Morgana, Karma potentially can be picked up there, but there's not really all that much else you can put. It's going to be Karma support with, you know, maybe like Nunu, Karma, Nunu, Kai'Sa. Is that enough? Maybe not.
Not particularly. Speaking of Nunu, like that ulti damage sitting with a Targon Sprace last game was absolutely disgusting, but I'm interested to see what they lock in now. Do they go for an early jungle pick? Direwolves obviously very willing to play a multitude of different things. They have the pocket Hecarim, stuff like that, or do they just counter pick the mid lane right here, the Zoe? Aurelia is up and available. There are assassins available for Amune to pick.
Yeah, Direwolves have actually done something really cute here because they've locked in Zoe, who has counters, and Ornn, who has counters. And they said, you've got to be able to counter pick one of them because now they'll probably get rid of things like the Darius, like the Aatrox, and all of a sudden top lane is a little bit more safe for BioPanther. Ramune does take the skill matchup. Yep. Very excited about this.
We're talking about that one, and we will get to see it here. LeBlanc hasn't had a whole load of success this tournament.
I'm really liking this as well because I just had a funnel game. I don't want to cast another funnel game. I want to see some action. And Pentagram calling OPL
Your funnel
out.
game was fairly bloody.
It was quiet at the beginning. You know me. I have a thing about funnel. I don't like it at all.
It's got a pet hate there.
Yeah, I think it's a kind of a maybe a little bit unfair, my hate for funnel.
I mean, that's all right. Everybody has preferences, as Hecarim does actually get banned away. So they banned the pocket pick. Not a lot of these teams coming into the tournament will have experience playing against the Hecarim, and is one of those champions that, when he gets ahead, can become super obnoxious.
Especially not electrocute Hecarim. He hits you with the E, hoofs to the face, and you die. Is a little bit strange coming out of Shen. They also get rid of another carry jungler here, so a lot of attention towards the jungles.
One more ban for Direwolves to go. Going to see exactly what that is. They've got 12 seconds left on the clock.
See what they will lock in here. Of course, Ornn blind pick for the top side, so they just match it with the Aatrox ban. Both of these top laners have shown it earlier on in the tournament. You mentioned BioPanther has that W, Paz unfortunately does not, but in that game, played pretty well. What was it, 4 solo turret takes, you were saying?
And how many games have we had in Rift Rival so far? Is this
games
the 20th?
Total? This is day number 3,
oh, 15.
so this is 15.
15. So, in 15 games, we have 1 Aatrox ban and 3 Aatrox plays for 2 wins. So he's got a 66% win rate. He's got like a 40-ish%, like 30-ish% presence rate. Would you say he's not that bad?
I feel you're stretching the facts here,
Maybe he's not that bad. Also, I do just need to commend you. Like, maths on the fly. I'm not that brave, you know. You're just willing to pull out the numbers. They could completely be wrong.
If you say it wrong, but you're confident when you say it,
it's 4 out of
comes
15,
better.
right? So 4, 16, that's 25%. So it's just over 25%.
Yep.
Well, Shen, Tahm Kench, and Trundle have all been picked up. Pentagram looking to pick up one final pick. And that is a pick that we've seen banned a couple of times, but not actually picked up. Oh, it's been picked up once, sorry.
And it's interesting to see the Shen lock in. This is most likely going to be going towards the top side. We see it a lot in the support position, but not too much in the solo lane. So standing toe-to-toe as a tank with the Ornn is a fairly decent lane phase, and especially with something like the LeBlanc or even the Kai'Sa that wants to dive into the back of team fights, you just have that extra layer of safety for the assassination.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shen actually destroys Ornn in the top lane. The ability to put your dodge zone down for brittle procs gets rid of a lot of Ornn's trading pattern, also gets rid of the Grasp of the Undying proc. And the slow and the persistent damage that comes out of Shen really starts to whittle him away. Not to mention you got double pushing options. You can go Balmy Cinder if you fall behind. You can go Tiamat if you're ahead. Just so many tools open to Shen to get priority in this lane and be able to help out the LeBlanc.
Not to mention has the instant CC with the Shen and also the Alistar, so potent against something like the Zoe. If she's dashing in, she goes forward, but then she immediately goes back. You can answer with that immediate CC to lock down triple on this champion, and then you have ways to start up a fight.
Going to be very exciting to see actually how this goes out. Obviously, LGL, this will be their last game of Rift Rivals 2018. Direwolves looking to go undefeated in the group stages heading in tomorrow's grand finals. Obviously, the OPL and Oceania have locked themselves in that first spot. C will be playing from second seed.
And Direwolves not only playing here to go the undefeated streak. Of course, it's the extra bonus, of course, going back into the OPL. They play Chiefs as their next game, so having the bragging rights coming out of Rift Rivals, if they can go undefeated, you know, against the fellow Australian team.
The thing about Direwolves that impressed me is I don't think they actually really care. They're just like, the next obstacle, all right, punch through that. Next obstacle, punch through that. If something goes wrong, they're a pretty open team. They just sit back, they address it, they make the bold changes they need to be able to move forward as a lineup. And I really, you know, you got to commend people like Dave Harris, Nathan Watt, Rippy, their coach, Sharp, their coach, who's just been able to pull this lineup together and across like 3 different iterations now, make them the best team in Oceania.
Well, we've loaded through onto the Summoners Rift for the fifth and final game as Pentagram will be taking on Direwolves. Can we hear the crowd cheer one more time for Japan as they will be playing their last game here at Rift Rivals 2018?
And once again, we're just going to go back to the standard fan. A lot of CC at level 1. You have Shenton, you have Ali, but nobody willing to opt in. Cupcake, actually in the Ali matchup, wants to get aggressive pre-6, going for the Glacial Augment, not something like the Guardian, not something like the more defensive option. Wants to get busy with the cow.
I was going to say that. Tom Kench actually underrated level 1, in my opinion, especially if he takes a Q. Big slow, and then if he acquires your taste, can also get a stun out there as well. So if you don't blow up someone, Tom Kench is one of those annoying champions that can just kind of hunt you down, look for you everywhere.
Well, getting busy with a cow does take an acquired taste, to be fair. Pretty standard start across the board. Everyone's just lining out nice and defensively.
And Schoenfire actually going for a pretty interesting start. They went to the top side, placed down that ward, walked across the mid lane, so Pentagram are going to know exactly where he's starting, and he's actually doing it leashless, whereas once getting a few auto attacks from the top laner and Paz will start his camps off a little bit quicker.
Yeah, look, Shen not known for the best leash in Summoner's Rift, but every little bit helps as a jungler, and sometimes it's just a thought that counts. I hate when everyone just starts in lane.
You want to feel loved by your
like,
laners?
what is going on here? So I just think the emotional support that Paz has lent will really help once out.
You're not a resilient jungler, Jake.
Absolutely
you know?
not.
You need the support of your teammates.
You know all about my jungler at the moment.
As long as you type TY after they help you leash.
But he doesn't get leashes, that's the problem. He doesn't have the option to type TY because nobody's helping him start his buff.
Everyone knows.
Ah, true. If you don't ask for help, then when none comes, you can't really be much to blame.
If you don't appreciate that help, no one's going to help you again.
That is true.
Come on, guys. Ease up. Let's go.
Infernal Drake actually going to be the Drake that spawns first on the map. We haven't seen a whole lot of those this tournament. We've had a whole lot of Earths, whole lot of Oceans, but this is going to spice it up, especially in a bot lane matchup.
We've had a decent amount of second Infernal Drakes, but this is one of the few first Infernal Drakes we've had.
And you have to say that will favour the Trundle, just given the fact that he has a lot of potential to zone it out, as Cupcake has stolen a Scuttle Crab.
And this is super cute. Direwolves have done this not just with the Tahm Kench, but they've also played domestically the Sejuani support, so being able to take that Scuttle Crab away, all of a sudden Schoenfire paths towards the top side, takes his own, and once walks into the bottom river and finds nothing there to take.
No camps at all, while Schoenfire is getting that nice steal off. Pad taking a little bit of poke, but once maybe looking for triple. Ramune will land the chains. That's going to be a great bubble, but straight back with the distortion goes Ramune, and he will be A-okay.
Really interested that once actually didn't go in there. Would have been able to do a lot of damage, maybe because they didn't have vision on the top side.
Didn't want to get counter ganked by a Trundle, of course. If you overcommit, press the attack procs. Actually, Gang going very aggressive.
Cupcake's taking a lot of damage. He's ignited, and First Blood gets picked up by Gang. Now King is in for a bit of hurt, but he is going to be able to make his way out.
And this is what I said. Yutori Moyashi, from my experience going, there are such good players being able to now take a standard bottom lane into standard bottom lane. This is their territory.
And they're just leveraging their summoner advantage. They have the heal to the TP, so Cupcake gets absolutely no help from the Lucian. Here's more.
Oh, flash headbutt pulverized underneath the tower, though. Does need to be careful. King's getting melted, and he will get picked up by the Void Seeker. Yutori Moriyashi picks up his first.
Yeah, and that's really cute. Pretends he's going on a warding expedition, maybe going to look mid lane. Instead, wraps around Ejim, able to pick up that kill.
And 4 minutes into the game, that's 2 kills onto the bottom lane. Direwolves falling very far behind. We haven't seen this from them so far this tournament, and this is looking pretty rough.
You have to keep in mind as well, they didn't actually really know where Schoenfire was. They could have a good idea, but Ramune maybe getting soloed out here. Ignited triple underneath the tower, and he just gets picked up.
And all 3 of the skill matchups right now going in the LJL's favor. Pentagram have shown up to play.
Absolutely. This is not what we've seen from Pentagram. They have been the scaling team. Schönfire potentially looking for an answer onto Ramune.
Does have that pillar, does need to be careful as well as once maybe. Just wants to go 1v1. Schönfire going to make his way out with a good pillar to disengage.
And you talked about how the Infernal Drake is going to favor the Direwolves because they have that Trundle, but once...
Free Talon Strike, he can knock him up with one more auto attack, and Schönfire makes it out with a sliver of health.
Does not favor you when your bottom lane's losing. When they've both died, when the enemies have complete control down here, that's going to be pretty rough.
And first press the attack we've seen on Xin Zhao, potentially because it's melee versus melee this time around in the jungle, also gives him the sticking power to be able to go with Shern just damage-wise, because he's not really going to get outrun given the fact he has a dash as well as a slow.
And that's the thing, normally you see something like the Phase Rush, so that you can actually stick to the targets. Other interesting rune choices, we see Kai'Sa not going for the press the attack or anything like that, going for the lethal tempo in the laning phase. This is not like a funnel comp where opting into that lethal tempo makes just so much sense because you don't really want to fight before you get to that 1 to 2 item spike. And the fact that they're already winning the lane with that rune of choice is even better for Pentagram.
Also got to give credit where credit's due. I'm very critical of BioPanther at times, but right now he has teleport advantage as well as a 10 CS lead.
I love Hex Flash.
I know you do.
I love Hex Flash. Just casting that in lane, you know, doesn't get a load of anything, but it's a very scary cow. The opportunity is always there. You deny
the opportunity
King.
for what?
You can deny him CS. Yeah, you can zone them away because if he steps up, then you're in combo range when you land. So the channel time, you're basically forcing King back. Look, he runs away as soon as Hex Flash is channeled. Gung doesn't want to go in. He doesn't care, but he's just constantly pressuring King.
And he didn't even miss a CS. He's just doing nothing.
That's because he's just getting styled on. He's just using it every time it's off cooldown. He's pressing the F button.
And this is the point as well, because if he really wanted to go for it, he'd do it from a bush so they can't see him Hex Flash on top of them, but he's just doing it to zone him off. The threat is there. You never want to walk in range of him to combo you.
And he's gone for the Moby Boots and actually had double pink wards there. So now they have pinked the river. They have pinked the back lane bush on the bottom side of the map. So he can do that from the bush now from the safety of that control ward. So there is threat there onto King.
You guys are Hex Flash apologists.
I love it. Such a good mastery. Or rune.
You like it because it's fun.
It is fun. What do you mean?
I have never seen you successfully execute what you were talking about right now.
Well, that's why he lost all his games on the stage today.
Oh, actually.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, they're going in. But no, everything turns around. I really wish something happened there. So as soon as somebody flames me, I'm like, yeah, back to the game. Pentagram are actually going in for a play. Unfortunately, Direwolves look to answer back. And that's fine.
Well, for now, a lot of action in that early section of the game, but Direwolves taking a bit of a step back. Don't want to give too much over to the Pentagram bot lane, who are starting to run away with it a little bit.
And I feel like it is important that Pentagram's early game goes in this trajectory, right? That the Xin Zhao has not fallen too far behind. This is a Moby Boots first purchase by the Alistar. He wants to get out onto the map, especially when you have a Shen top. When Ali hits level 6, he can very easily dive mid, and with that shield, with the damage reduction, he can just tank up the turret for so long. That means you can get Ramune rolling. All of a sudden, you can flex your pressure around multiple points of the map.
Yeah, I'm really surprised actually that Ramune hasn't gone for another aggressive play. Has the Ignite available, has Ultimate up, is actually level 8. It should pretty much have control of the whole of the mid lane area.
And this might just be the play you're looking for right now. 4 members for Pentagram on the bottom side. Direwolves only have 3.
Schönfire is there, is going to get instantly popped up and blown down. Shen's ulting in, it doesn't come through in time as King is so low. Cupcake goes golden, but he can't stay alive. King will be next to follow, and it's a free for none in the bot lane.
And such a well-executed dive. They pick up the first kill onto Schönfire, continue onto the bot lane, all the while Gung just tanking up the turret.
And that was over before it began, so no real opportunity for BioPanther to teleport in. Shern instantly died.
Just deleted, and this will also be first brick going over to Pentagram. They are going to accelerate this gold lead to 4,000 gold over Direwolves, and the undefeated team from the OPL having a scary start to the game.
Struggling to stay undefeated at this point. Ignite used just to trade onto Ramune was just the spell thief picking up that one. As I walked all the way down bot side, Zoe did get the priority, but we're going to see this one again.
Yeah, absolutely. And Shern goes past the brush, gets deleted, and then Paz is just here to help out. I mean, really was not even needed. Once does go low, but with Gung tanking up that turret, very good communication, able to get the maximum.
And that is just the once pass by, right? Like they go down the bottom, they get the turret, get a bunch of kills. If they do that again, then all of a sudden they're getting an Infernal Drake as well. Direwolves have read the play, they now flip the map. They don't want anything to do with bot side.
Teleport coming in.
BioPanther could be in for a little bit of hurt. There's 3 members versus him, and he will just get melted down. Void Seeker from Yatori Moriyashi is able to pick up the kill.
Direwolves flipped the map because they wanted to be able to trade the Infernal Drake for the Rift Herald. Pentagram ahead of that, able to get the teleport play, will take the Infernal, they'll take the kill, and now they have even more pressure.
And don't let the CS lead fool you for BioPanther. He's 20 CS up, but that was Paz making 2 plays cross-map right there. Had the TP, had the Stand United, back-to-back, and Ramune looking to contest the Rift Herald take here.
Yeah, there are 3 members there. He does need to be a little bit careful. Also, Triple is on the way, so Direwolves will be able to pick this up uncontested. Good rotation from them to recognize where they were strong on the map.
So they will get something. But you've just given up, what was it, 4 kills and a turret as well as an Infernal Drake for that something? Don't know if it is enough.
And the answer, if it's going to be soon, has to come very soon. Paz, by the time his Stand United is back up and available, BioPanther's really not able to make a play on the other side of the map. Now that Pentagram have matched 2 for 2, you see Direwolves back away immediately. Maybe just looking for their ball completion, but no, he only has a recurve bow, so it's going to be tough for Direwolves to deploy and actually get any winning matchups across the board here.
And this is why I love Shen and a proactive assassin. Because BioPanther's channel is going to seem so long if you're Triple or you're King, and Ramune is diving onto you with a Shen. And most of the time, he's not going to make it there before you die. So they will buy a 5v4 instantly just through Paz's ulti.
Because that's the thing, it changes the play pattern for LeBlanc. All of a sudden, you don't have to distort in, use your entire combo, and then leave immediately. You have the shield to take a bit of the brunt, take some damage on the back end, and you still survive. You bring the taunt into the backline with that double dash from the LeBlanc, so it just gives you more options. And Pentagram.
Well, Call of the Forge God's going to come out from BioPanther. Once throws down the ultimate, but he is getting jumped straight onto. Sleepy Bubble Trouble connects down, and they're looking for the hurt in. Ramune goes over the double distortion, and Schernfire bleeding out, but is able to make his escape. It's just been 1 for Direwolves. Cupcake does have that great health, so he will be okay.
And that's it. They didn't have to burn the TP. It was just the Abyssal Voids. They do get 1 pick once, unfortunately, instead of flashing over the wall. Flashes into the wall, and he just goes down.
I hate it when that happens.
Yep.
Who put that wall there?
Not Riot Games.
That's, I guess, the best case situation. You can see they still had to burn Shern's flash, so the trade kill wasn't there. There is still hope for the Direwolves if they make their proactive play.
And Pentagram, they did look to try and contest. They floated down the river. You saw Gung make it there, but you can see the point where they kind of do just all back away. Yatori Moriyashi still not finished his Gwinsus, has the Xerxes Greaves, picked them up fairly early, but once he hits that 1-item spike, will be much stronger than the Lucian at this stage of the game.
Because I think we've seen the best of both worlds out of the LJL lineup. That's the discipline. You got caught out of position. They used the Tahm Kench ulti on you. You shouldn't be up that far, so we're not going to chase a loss. But we've also seen them set up the map well and make the proactive plays. Certainly what I wanted to see out of the LJL coming into this Rift Rivals.
That gold lead is starting to sneak back towards the Direwolves with the fact they were able to get a couple of picks. And by a couple, I mean 1. It's now just 2,000 gold. Starting to try and farm up a Storm on a couple of these carries as well.
And I do really like the build that's going to come out of Guns. I hope he's not going to go for the Zeeks. I hope he goes for the Righteous Glory. In terms of reliable engage tools, we've talked about the potency of a LeBlanc with a Shen, something like that, but they have no real way to start up a full-blown team fight. So if he opts in for the Righteous Glory, they just have that extra engage there, whereas Direwolves, they have the ease of engage. They have the Ornn, something like that, but their carries fairly immobile. We've seen how much Schernfire can just get blown up if he mispositions. If you can get onto the Zoe, she can't do a lot to actually get away.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that when you have a look at how they're going to win the fight, it's through locking down key targets. Yatori Moriyashi as well as Ramune, they're going to do enough damage. Throw once in there as well for a little bit extra flavor. I don't think they need something like a Zeeks. It will be a great item as the game progresses, but running fast is always fun as Triple.
Chain barely doesn't land. If it did, there was definitely kill potential there. Schernfire backing up the mid laner, but LeBlanc can always just dash back over the wall.
Had that Ignite ready as well if you needed to. Ramune also does take a pretty nasty trade as well. If that bubble had connected, maybe would have followed up in a little bit more poke.
Rift Herald does actually get popped in the mid lane, expiring fairly soon, so Schernfire and the Direwolves is trying to get something from it, but the wave is already here. Pentagram are looking to collapse.
Yeah, Yatori Moriyashi not heading down. That's the on-horn.
Here comes the Call of the Forge God. Owens instantly gets popped up. His ultimate will not keep him alive for long enough as Ramune goes in with a double distortion. Tower's going to fall down, and it's also a kill for the Direwolves.
And they don't actually collapse fast enough. The turret was just so low. One charge was the trick. Once again, we see in this situation, Yutaro Miyashi does not collapse to the play, and now all of a sudden he can't be top either. You have Abyssal Void from the Tahm Kench. They have tools to pick on him in the side lane, so if they don't pull the trigger early, triple.
It's a big wave. He has to try and... Oh! I didn't think that was going to hit. Ramune has got the shield from Paz, so he will be able to walk out from that one, but that was an ulti burn.
I don't know if I would have used it if I was Paz. Does that sound mean? That I would have let my mid laner die?
He's 2-0, so he is worth some gold.
Yeah, but now you can't make a proactive play on Summoner's Rift. The reason once died in the last fight was because Stan United wasn't available. He's about to tick over to 11, so the cooldown is at its maximum right now. You're trading a 40-ish, not even a 30-second death time.
Probably
at this
more
stage.
like 20 at this stage.
Yeah. For the inability to make a play for 3 minutes.
And that's a big trade. It's a big loss, especially when Biopanther has his TP. Ornhorn is a much lower cooldown than that of the Stand United for the Shen, so it just kind of opens up opportunities for the Direwolves to get back in the game.
Well, here's going to be their proactive play. They know Paz doesn't have that ultimate once, needs to be so careful. He's going underneath the tower. The pillar blocks him off. The teleport's going to be just too little, and it's just going to be too late as Paz actually completed that. Pentagram are a little bit of a way away, so they're not going to be able to do anything about this.
Yeah, they're worried about the next dragon. It's going to be fire one more time. Can they actually fight? Can they trade something back? Because that is the 3rd time in a row that this Xin Zhao has just been picked off.
And they're just investing in the Kai'Sa. Every single play that happens is on the opposite side of the map. Yutaro Miyashi does not collapse. They don't choose to try and contest this one. You mentioned Paz completes his TP, so maybe they could have looked for a 4v5, but without a jungler, the contest is super hard, but every time these plays are happening, the Kai'Sa is just farming up.
And Yutaro Moriyashi didn't even take that turret in the mid lane. He got a lot of damage down, but it wasn't enough. He's just going to go back to farming. He's down to his counterpart King on that Lucian as Ramune once again just gets chunked out by Triple.
And the more we see this counter pick, the more it shows that if Zoe ever gets priority, LeBlanc is so squishy. And can just be chunked out. However, when Ramune was getting proactive Shen ultimates, was able to move around the map, it looked very good. Somehow Pentagram just need to reset because they're now down in gold. And just say, what was working for us at the start of this game? Let's get back to it.
And that's the thing, Direwolves have done very well to just maintain their gold accuracy throughout the entirety of this game so far. King still up in CS despite the fact that the Kai'Sa has not been grouping. He has been at these plays. Biopanther has been up the entirety of the game. A 20 CS lead in a tank versus tank matchup. Paz has been leaving a lot, but the fact that they're up in gold now is just a testament to their resilience.
King's looking for them, but Gung might be able to get here in time. He needs Cupcake as well, because otherwise the gank is for naught.
He does have flash, goes in, misses the Hep Pulverize, actually didn't use it. That's going to be the ultimate from once. They're diving for more. Cupcake gobbles up King, and now they're turning it on
Teleport's
its head.
coming
It's going to the teleport. Gang's on the far end. Can we see Yutaro Moriyashi make a miracle happen? Gang headbutts out, but here comes the call of the forge called the Ram Jam. Lands onto ones. It's 3v4, and King finds one. Once goes down, a 2-0 for Direwolves.
And would you know it, Paz's ultimate is not available, so they get absolutely destroyed. Direwolves right back in control.
And that was Pentagram making the proactive play. It was nice mechanics from Gung, but unfortunately, Tahm Kench is enough to keep the Lucian alive, and the rest of the Wolfpack collapse.
The Direwolves are just reading the state of the game, reading the map so well. They always know when they can find their advantages, and it's pulled them back from a 4,000 gold deficit to a 1,000 gold lead.
And this is what we said. The Direwolves as a team, they're cerebral, they're smart. Sure, they play the game aggressively, but they also know that as long as Paz cannot join the team fight, they can blow someone up and continue the chase. And every single time they have made a proactive play, it's been around the Stand United window.
And this is it. It is not available right now. TP comes in. Ornn's flanks are so incredibly good. Flashes are already burnt for the Xin, for the Alistar. So this chase is just so easy. You have Trundle slows, you have Ornn, you have Tahm Kench slows. There's so much CC here. And not to mention Zoe LeBlanc. They come, they land at the same time, and Paz still walking in the mid lane.
Absolutely beautiful execution from the side of Direwolves. You do have to keep in mind though, Schönfire is the one who's been taking quite a lot of these kills. It's 3-1 on the Trundle. Now it looks like Pentagram want to be proactive on the map. Paz Losing out on the trade, but could be just getting baited out. But here comes the Abyssal Voyage. Cupcake is going to deliver in King. Once again is going to get melted through. Call of the Forge Gods here. And now Biopanther knocks up Gang. Tongue Lash is there. And a fantastic pillar will make Beef Burger on the menu. Another 2 for Direwolves.
And it's just so easy for the Direwolves right now. They cheat tempo with the Tahm Kench ultimate. Abyssal Voyage lands multiple members into the bottom lane. That's going to be another turret, another 2 kills.
And finally, when the ultimate is available, they go to Paz's lane. It's just such confusing play coming out of Pentagram. Look for the 1v1 with LeBlanc into Zoe with the ultimate. You know, shove out another lane and try and isolate it. Now he's in trouble.
He might be in a lot of trouble. He might just be dead. Shen comes through. Once again, Paz's ultimate does absolutely nothing.
It has to be proactive. You cannot reactively Shen ulti because right now Zoe is too strong. And once again, Ramune falls down.
And earlier today taught us that if LeBlanc falls behind, if she doesn't have the freedom to look for picks, she becomes very, very rough training into the late game. This is a Kai'Sa composition. The Xin Zhao is 1 and 5. He's behind the curve versus something like the Trundle. He's tankier. He boosts up the rest of his team. And Pentagram definitely going to struggle. We're now 20 minutes. Baron has spawned.
Exactly. I was just about to hit on that point. 20 minutes, and this is what we've seen out of the Direwolves. They love to take these early Barons, and with the lead they've got, with the fact that King's now starting to build up these item spikes, starting to hit his stride, this Baron will melt.
It's real funny because Direwolves in the OPL aren't really a Baron team. They're more of a shove out lanes, ward up your jungle, take all your stuff, and grind you into the ground kind of team. It's just that teams at Rift Rivals have made so many mistakes challenging Vision that they've kind of given Direwolves a ton of these Barons.
Bubble barely just misses on Ramune.
Ramune does go forward, takes a little bit of poke. Schernfire's there with a pillar onto once. Now Ramune's forced to flash over the wall.
Bubble.
That's going to be the bubble for triple. Doesn't quite have the hop. Yes, he does, but it doesn't land in time. King's managed to get himself a killing spree as once falls down. It's a double kill onto the Lucian. Yatori Moriyashi will not fall today, but that's another 2 for Direwolves.
And just as you talk about the gritty contest for Vision, Pentagram step up to the plate. That was a LeBlanc trying to go in the Zoe with a Trundle right next to him. Schönfire didn't even see Ramune. He flashes over the wall and still dies.
Well, at 22 minutes, we see Direwolves start up the Baron Nashor. Once is dead, he does not have Smite. He cannot contest this, and Direwolves are starting to run away with the game.
All right, let's just take it back a step. In League of Legends, knowledge is power. If you do not know where people are, do not run your assassin into the fog of war. That is a good way to give up a kill, in this case give up 2 kills and a Baron buff. Right now Pentagram just skipping steps in their preparation and getting punished.
It hurts me to say this, Jake, but Alistar is pretty good at face checking Vision, you know? He's not a lamb, but he can turn into a sacrificial cow if you need him to. Schönfire on the back end of this fight, just allowing the carries of Direwolves to pick it up. King untouched on the back end as they're just tanky enough to continue the dive.
And this is where the Direwolves love playing, when they can make all the choices, where they have the smorgasbord of options and they're dragging you around the map. They're saying, come play our game. Come check this Raptor camp. And the way that you get control of it is pushing out your lanes, getting more information, you know, forcing them to answer something. But right now, the Direwolves just are not accountable. They just ran through the jungle and just won a team fight.
And not to mention, they now are afforded some luxuries. King goes back, buys himself a Hex Drinker. All of a sudden, the LeBlanc Shen combination is so much less of a threat onto the AD carry of Direwolves, as they're just setting up a 1-3-1. Biopanther pushing on the top side. He has TP, he can join the fight. The rest of the Wolfpack floating towards Triple, who's just sieging the bot lane.
Really wants to go forward, but he is getting bursted out by King. Now Yatori wants his hand in it, but the culling is enough. King's able to pick up the kill.
Unfortunately for Yatori Mayashi, the culling nerf was only onto minions, so he takes the full brunt of that damage, right to the face. No flash, heal came out, but still dead.
And the Direwolves just look so clean at the moment. They're not making the mistakes. The early game, it was a travesty. They were so far behind. But since that point, since they've been able to make proactive plays, and one more time, this is Cupcake just going up to the top lane. It's going to take a while, but Paz is probably going to die.
Yeah, he's actually going to use his flash to get out of there. But in the meanwhile, the team would take a turret in the mid lane, still continue their siege here in the bot lane.
And Direwolves prioritizing the push. They don't care about Paz.
Yep.
He's just a Shen sitting in a Baron bush, in the Baron pit. Who really cares? They want to keep sieging the base. Take down another turret, gold lead, extending to about 10,000 now.
This
only 24 minutes.
This is like a 17,000 gold lead swing in like the last 14 minutes. This is monstrous.
That's more gold than minutes.
17,000 in 24 minutes.
No, like,
Oh,
they
okay.
were 3,000
Okay,
up,
cool,
and
cool.
now they're
Yeah.
10,000 behind.
I was about 17 is definitely not a higher number than 24.
But Air Drake spawning on the map, so nobody really cares about that one either.
Not when
Direwolf
you've
just
got
gonna-
6 turrets.
Direwolf just going to go for the full reset. They've broken the outer ring, they've broken the inner ring. It's just about sieging the base.
And look at what they're doing, you know. Send King for the red buff. You can get Raptor camp as well. We'll go get blue buff. We'll go take out all the camps and we'll move into their jungle. We'll take all their resources. Hey, we'll shove in your lanes, take some of your turrets as well, and just force you out of this game.
And that's what we talk about domestically with the Direwolves. They don't win these games by making a huge Baron play. They just take every single camp, constantly denying. Look at the CS lead in the jungle. That's 40 CS between the Trundle and the Xin Zhao. 1-6 is once. He's so far behind and has no way to get back in. Let alone the fact that he's playing Xin Zhao. Even if he gets back in, he's not going to do as much as the Trundle.
Well, still got that Baron for just a little bit longer. Going to see the siege from Direwolves if they have all of their members here. This turret will just melt for 25 minutes, and Engage is coming through. Ramune uses the double distortion, and all of a sudden, Direwolves actually starting to run a little bit low. Call of the Forge Gods coming through from BioPanther. He knocks up 3 members. That's going to be another kill. It's a double kill picked up by Triple. Paz is going to fall down as King's able to find himself the next one. In comes Triple.
Killer.
In comes King. Out goes Gang, and Ramune will fall down. It's the full ace for Direwolves.
And that'll do it. The Direwolves again absorb all of the pressure and throw it back in their face. They will go undefeated.
Wolves played so well in this game to pull it back from the brink of despair, but they do remain undefeated here at Rift Rivals 2018, going towards the finals.
And that's the thing, we saw so much diversity. We've seen the stomps out of the Direwolves. This is another one of those games where they're incredibly far behind early. The resilience is there for the Wolfpack, and they bite back later on in the game.
They're just so cool under pressure. They just don't break, you know, backs against the wall. This game wasn't really for anything. It was for an undefeated streak. And yet, even when they fall down by 3,000 gold, they still fight back. They still don't skip steps. They're so well drilled. They really are a very terrifying lineup when they play well.
And that's the thing, they're just constantly contesting but not overcommitting to the play. They fall behind early, but just keeping in the game just enough that when given an opportunity, they immediately seize it, and they turn it around.
It feels like the story of Pentagram as well throughout this entire tournament. You know, they've had good starts, and then it's just fallen apart in the mid, and it feels like the decision-making has been a little bit weak here, but Direwolves, I'm very excited to see them tomorrow and see what they can do for the OPL.
Yeah, Pentagram finally had like a good laning phase. They were finally able to get their Assassin ahead, their AD carry ahead. I mean, cannot understate this. They got an Infernal Dragon first blood turret as well as like 4 kills in the bottom lane. That game should have been over.
At the point where they're diving the Direwolves bottom lane, right? They have the Shen, they have the LeBlanc making that proactive play. Paz made 2 plays in the span of about a minute and a half on that Shen with the TP and the Stand United. They had such a big lead, but as you mentioned, it was the mid-game decisions. As soon as they went from being proactive, as soon as they flipped the switch and started reacting to what Direwolves were doing onto the other side of the map, it was just lights out for the Japanese lineup.
Completely dominant playstyle there from Direwolves. Now, gentlemen, it's going to be the OPL versus Southeast Asia tomorrow. And with that display we've just had from Direwolves, I want some kind of thoughts going into tomorrow's games.
I'll be the one that says it. I'll do it.
I know
Oceania in finals has a very, very poor track record against Southeast Asia.
Ooh. I thought you were going to say good things. You're like,
No.
okay, I'm going to be the guy that's hella biased towards OPL.
I have casted the Oceanic Pro League for 4 years now, going into international finals, and I have seen us win a big, fat 0 of them. So I am a little bit terrified going into tomorrow.
They're in the state theatre.
That's what they do. They give you hope, and then they just take it away from you, crush your heart and your dreams until you're actually crying on broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, this has happened before.
Make eye contact with me when you say that. I was in that game. Literally in the game you're talking about. Come on, man. Hit me right in the feels.
But in saying that, we look very good at the moment, so maybe we'll win as well.
Maybe we will. We'll all have to find out. We're going to let Nick Boy and Rusty take it away. So, gentlemen, over to you.
That's right, the Wolfpack smelled blood and they took all of the magic out of that Pentagram Rusty, we were backstage watching, and halfway through, you said the Direwolves should not be winning this.
No, I'm pretty sure the game should have been over. Direwolves were meant to lose that game. Pentagram had a monumental lead with a pick composition that was going to be able to snowball, and it's weird to me that Direwolves were able to come back. And I actually do have to credit Direwolves for playing super well to get back, but at the same time, I think Pentagram kind of skipped some steps with the leads they had.
Yeah, where do you think it fell apart most for them?
It's actually like what Spawn said during the game. It was the setup for objectives. They chose to just throw their face in it. They constantly found once dying the Direwolves. They picked them off very nicely, and they did execute well on catching them out.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's been a massive day of games. What's been the highlight for you?
Oh, I mean, for me, it's actually going to be Mineski once again. This side is the 3rd seed of the Southeast Asia region. I know it's a bit weird to say that the day before they take on Oceania, but they were a pleasant team to watch play.
And it looks like, for me, I think... I did mention that I wanted Japan to take out that last game, but I think the highlight for me still is Japan taking out 2 of their 3 games.
Yeah.
That obviously some missteps led them to this point, but they didn't go out entirely from bad plays from themselves. A lot of it was reliant on the strength of other regions.
Yeah, and there was still a chance it could have been 3-0. They had a lead even against the Direwolves, so ultimately did go undefeated on the day.
Absolutely. And so it turns out that obviously Japan are out, so we've got OS and we've got C tomorrow. What's the format for the day?
So the standings as they were, of course, will be Oceania first, Southeast Asia second, Japan not going to be existing, and that is a difference in format to what we used to see. So when we look forward to what tomorrow will be, it is going to be a blind relay style of format. Now, 1 hour after the last Nexus exploded, the one that you just saw, these teams will be submitting, both Southeast Asia and Oceania, who their first competitor will be. So we'll know that in about an hour from now. And when that first game ends, you have 5 minutes to decide who will be playing next, and then another 5 minutes to decide which side you will be on. Oceania has 1, 3, and 5, and of course Southeast Asia then gets 2 and 4. And you'll go like this way until there is 3 wins. Each team has to play in the first 3 games, and you can only play twice.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be a mammoth day tomorrow. Obviously, it is our live day. So from everyone here, from Rusty, myself, Spawn, EGM, and Hiprain, thank you very much for watching. And remember that there are still a couple of tickets left at ticketmaster.com.au for you to pick up your tickets for the live final tomorrow. If you love League of Legends, if you're in Sydney, hell, if you're not in Sydney, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to your children to be here to watch C take on the OPL in the 2018 League of Legends Rift Rivals.
Blown down Shenzhou to get it, doesn't come through in time as King is so low. Cupcake goes golden, but he can't stay alive. King will be next to follow, and it's a free for none in the bot lane. Headbutts out, but here comes the call of the forge called the Ram Jam. Lands onto ones, it's 3v4, and King finds one. Once goes down, a 2 for 0 for Direwolves. That's going to be the bubble for triple. Doesn't quite have the hop. Yes, he does, but it doesn't land in time. King's managed to get himself a killing spree as once falls down. It's a double kill onto the Lucian. Really wants to go forward, but he is getting bursted out by King. Now Yutori wants his hand in it, but the culling is enough. King's able to pick up the kill. And all of a sudden, Direwolves actually starting to run a little bit low. All the forwards got to come through from Biopampa, who knocks up 3 members. That's going to be another kill. It's a double kill picked up by Triple. Paz is going to fall down as King's able to find himself the next one. In comes Triple. In comes King, out goes Gang, and Ramune will fall down. It's the full ace for Direwolves. But they do remain undefeated here at Rift Rivals 2018, going towards the finals.